NRL round 23, the New Zealand Warriors up against the Dolphins over in Brisbane. Let's take a look how this one may play out. Apologies for not getting out a post-game review after the Eels. I really wanted to sit down and watch the game again before I put out a review. Got that done on Sunday night, sat down yesterday and put together a review. Shared a few thoughts on SJ and what I thought needed to happen to halves. Just as I got that done, then SJ made the announcement that he was retiring. So I kind of felt like, no, it wasn't the right time to put out that review. I'll share a couple of thoughts now, though, before I get into today's preview. Man, first and foremost, very frustrating that Eels game on Friday night. Just felt like we didn't have the energy to compete. Didn't feel like we were in it from the start. Got to say a big congratulations to the Eels, man. I don't know what they feed them on Air New Zealand when they fly these teams over. Play complete shit for the whole season, and then when they arrive at Mount Smart, they just like seem to grow another leg. I haven't seen them attack and defend like that in a very long time. I felt like it's a classic example of how this year's played out. A tough battle in the first 15 minutes, then the first chance the opposition get, now 20, they end up taking it. Uh, really frustrating. That was a well constructed try, but there are a few things went on there with people just a little bit slow to react. Dallin, I wish he'd just learn to tackle at the ball when you've got those guys in the air. Doesn't matter about going for the legs because that ball's still going to hit the ground and the legs are going to be up in the air anyway. So um, I felt like when I was watching it live, the guys weren't really making an effort. It just seemed like we were really flat. It was extremely frustrating. A lot of DMs coming in and from mates and from followers throughout the game. And a lot of people sort of did the Mount Smart shuffle with about 20 minutes to go because they just, they were so frustrated by what they saw. I was kind of one of them. I was really pissed off on Saturday, but I kind of prepared myself mentally for the fact that we probably weren't going to make the 8 weeks ago. So it wasn't too much of a shock, but it was good to sit down. It was good to sit down on Sunday night and rewatch the game. I felt like, for the most part, we were actually trying. I felt like Mitch Barnett and Capewell were really struggling with fatigue. You could see them both on a number of occasions with their hands on their knees, bent over, for two or three tackles. They were absolutely gassed, and that's to be understandable. Particularly Mitch, he's played massive minutes in almost every game this season. And on top of that, State of Origin. But also Capewell, maybe he had that break before State of Origin, but he put in a lot of work there, and particularly in that last game, playing 70 minutes. 3 days later, playing 80 minutes for us, and then pretty much playing every game since. So I noticed both those guys were a little bit gassed. They still tried their ass. I think Mitch ran for about 175 meters, and Capewell was well over 100, I think, from memory. But a couple of occasions they were just a little bit slow off the mark, and when you've got one guy slow, it just staggers, and by the time you get to the end of that, you end up with space out wide, and they managed to exploit it. I was a little bit disappointed with AFB again. I felt like last week he was, he really got into the buzz of dominating that opposition pack. He was hitting the line harder than I've seen him in a long time, and as a result, he made well over 200 meters. But against the Eels, they stepped up and smashed him, and I felt like he just lost his rag a little bit, and he only ended up running for about 135 meters. Uh, and a couple of occasions there, he just got caught flat-footed. I think when they got that try off the poorly executed dropout, AFB was at marker, and he sort of stood there. He looked, am I going to run? Am I going to chase? And then once he decided to chase, it was all over. So I hate to point him out, but I do feel like, at stages he checks out when things aren't going his way. I also noticed that Ali Lautoa was struggling a little bit with the pace of the game towards the end there, particularly in the second half. A couple of times he was a little bit bent over, struggling to get back on the line. He hasn't been that long back from injury. It's a big step up into first grade, so hopefully that sort of comes to him. The fitness will get there. While Graham Tolford with a couple of disappointing errors. It's particularly frustrating, the one where he hit the ball with the tip of his finger and we challenged it. It's like, why didn't he tell whoever was going to do the challenge that he touched it? But overall, I thought both those guys were really good. Challenge at the back, 315 odd meters, I think it was, he ran for. But I'm still going to say, I think they both offer a similar amount, but Roger is better suited to fullback. He's just an out and out fullback. So I'm starting to drift back into the RTS at fullback game, and I'd like to see Chance get a go in the centres, but randomly enough, RTS back in the centres this week. Um, so overall, it's just bloody disappointing. Season on the line, just not quite the hustle we needed. But again, a reflection of the whole season to date. Get to round 22 and you're still waiting for us to really hit our straps. Other than that decent win over the Cowboys, Broncos maybe, and South, we've never really put it together this year, which is really, really disappointing given the roster we have there. But shit, such is life. So mathematically, supposedly we still have a chance. I don't think we can do it, but we shall see. Um, Webby seems to think we can, so that's why I think he's kind of named a relatively strong lineup here. So let's get into that today. Shit, couple of surprises. I put out my predicted lineup this morning. I didn't see them dropping Graham Telfer and moving RTS back to the centres. So what have we got here in the backs? We've got Chance, Dallin, Ali, RTS back at centre. Ed Cossey coming onto a wing. Didn't see that coming. Chanel and Johnson in the halves. Didn't expect Tamati Martin to come back in. I just don't think they're going to put him back in with SJ. They know that doesn't really click. Webby spoke to the Metcalf option, just saying it wouldn't be fair to put him in there off the back of 40 minutes of footy and what is it, about 5 months. So I expected Chanel to start. I really liked what he delivered in the weekend. Other than that poor miss him and Ali had on Brown, that I think it led to Gutherson's try. I thought he played pretty well. No one was picking him to be starting 5'8" this year, but I always really had a bit of faith in him. I think he's got the better kicking game out of the three of them. Um, you know, I just hope he gets a bit of consistent footy in one position so he has a chance to cement himself. I'm a bit worried, like once Metcalf comes in, he'll be put back on the bench and be shifted around a lot, and he'll never really find his zone. But I honestly do feel, and I've always felt that Chanel will eventually grow into a potentially a seven, but at a minimum, a really good quality half once he gets to about the 100 game mark. He's got a lot of attack. He's got a good pass on him. He's got great defense, and he's got a good kick. So I don't know. I'm pretty happy to see him back in there, and I don't expect him to drop SJ for the rest of the season unless he's injured. So yeah, pretty surprised to see Ed Cossey come in there. And you see the back line, bloody fins across the field are pretty much full strength. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for us. I'm definitely not overly confident about this one, particularly given the fact they've got so many good players in there. What have we got there? Hammer, Isako, Avarillo, Farnsworth, Bostock, Nikorima, and Katoa. Arguably, Nikorima has not been playing as well as he has, he did last season, but the rest of them, shit, they're all fire. So a lot of speed, a lot of size, a lot of height, a lot of tries in them. So we're going to have to defend like our bloody lives defend on them. Looking at the forwards, it really surprised me to see Dylan Walker back. And in the commentary on Friday night, I watched Fox. I don't know what they said on New Zealand TV. They said that Dylan had an HIA and couldn't come back. But being named again, I guess he must have been off because of that throat or the sternum, sure, up around the sort of throat, just below the throat area where he got the forearm against the Eels. So I was really surprised to see him in there. But other than that, it's pretty much what I expected for the Fords. Same lineup as last time. What have we got there? AFB, Egan, Barnett, Neil Corder, Capewell, and Walker versus Jesse Bromwich, Max Plath, Pangai Jr., who's playing pretty well, Kafusi, Lemuel, and Bromwich. Man, this is pretty much as close as they get to their best lineup. Again, probably other than Marshall King. On our bench, Freddie Lussick, Tom O'Leary, Jazz Tavanga, and Lekan Harasima versus what have we got there? Keeley, Nichols, Stone, and O'Sullivan. That's a pretty solid bench from them as well. On Leka, man, here's another one that surprised me in the weekend. Man, he's got so much upside, but I don't know if you guys noticed, he didn't make one run against the Tigers and he made 3 in 30 minutes on Friday night. I just don't know why we're not able to get him involved more. And I think he only made about 16 tackles. Compared to Jazz, I think he ran for 147 metres in about 36 minutes and made, I think it was 22 tackles or something like that. So yeah, you see him out there, but he just doesn't seem to be able to get himself involved. So I hope we figure out a better plan from this week. If Walker was out, I was actually kind of hoping that he would start on an edge and maybe they move Capewell to 13 just so we can get it to see him, play in his best position over on an edge rather than being in the middle or in the centres and the like. So bench for bench, shit, pretty even. And if I'm honest, I just think the attack of the Dolphins is going to be bloody hard for us to control. I've got a good mate, Jake, heading over. He's batting 0 this year. I think he's been to 3 games so far. We've had a kicking in all of them. Gave him shit and said we've got no chance. So he has to put $1,000 on the Dolphins to win to see if he can break that mojo by losing his money. Um, I'm really not confident, guys. I feel like it could be a 13+ win to the Dolphins if we don't really turn up. Damn. Looking at the extended benches here, we've got Tamati Martin, Sifakula, Tuolpiki, Graham Tolfa, and Bunty Ahua. Don't expect there to be any late changes unless there's an injury to someone like Dylan Walker. If Walker did drop out, I'd like to see Sifakula come in. We need a bit of size on that bench, but um, really not too sure, guys. I'm not sure what you're thinking. Webby seems to think, like I said, we've still got a mathematical chance. I guess we do, but we'd have to have a lot of games go our favour, and we've got to win every game. We lose this week, and I think it's time to start looking at blooding players. I'm not on the wagon of wanting to just throw the whole cup team in there. I think there's too much risk and too much negative potential impact by putting young guys in there without the backup and getting carved up will impact their confidence negatively. So I think I'd be keen to rotate a few in each week, getting guys like Sifakula, Laban some time there. I'd like to see a guy like Setu too get a shot up in first grade. I think he really deserves it. I'd also like to see someone like Ben Farr get a shot off the bench. Whether they do it or not, I'm not 100% sure. I kind of get the feeling that Webb is the sort of guy who'll play this top team out to the end, but I really don't know. That's how I'm thinking, guys. In the meantime, though, I'm really excited to see how the Cup boys go. They've got a genuine chance to go deep into these finals, if not win it. Like I said last week, I think it was, if we don't end up winning this game and we're out of it, I think you want to free up some of the regular Cup boys to make sure that they go deep and get a good finishing position there, and they'll be available for the finals if we don't make it. You've got some of these guys. You've got like the likes of Jazz. You've got Tamati Martin. You've got CHT, who can go back and play for Cup in the finals because they played there during the year. So excited to see how they go. At least we've got something to get wound up about. Imagine if we managed to win the Mats and the Cup in the same year. I think it goes great stead to what our future is looking like. As far as the roster goes, SJ gone, um, Jazz gone. Like I said, I've heard very strong whispers that Bunty's been asked to move on. So that's at least 3 guys gone. I get a feeling maybe there'll be another 1 or 2 fringe players who may step away. So I really hope we're out in that recruitment market. What are you guys thinking about as far as halfback next year goes? Tamati Martin, CHT, Metcalf, got a guy like Luke Hanson. People talk about Jet Cleary. Jet Cleary has only just managed to break into the Panthers jersey flag side over the past couple of weeks. So he's not going to be our saviour next year. Um, who are you guys thinking about? Personally, I think we've got a whole bunch of really quality sixes, but I don't think we've got a standout 7. Someone said to me jokingly, what about Tane Tuolpiki? Maybe he could become the next Jerome Hughes, switching from fullback into the halves. I've got to say, I don't hate it. I feel like he's got the best infield kicking game out of that group, actually, if you put him amongst them. He's done a lot of infield kicking in Cup when we haven't had a kicker in the halves. So I'd be curious to see that go. But I'm not overly confident in Marty's kicking game or Luke's at this stage. And I think right now, where we sit in the NRL, or the NRL is, it's such a momentum game, it's very hard to switch that momentum back without a massive kicker. And we saw what the Bulldogs and we saw what the Raiders did to us. We got all the field position. They just kicked from their own 30 all the way down to our try line and put us back on the back foot. So I feel like that's something we really need. There's a decent halfback with a massive, big kicking game, but a really astute short kicking game, and able to just push the guys around. We've got some real good X factor in our sixes, and we've got guys out wide who can score a try. So I just feel like we need that industrious 7, and I hope we're out there looking for one. Not sure if you guys have got any idea who that might be. I don't think we can get too excited. I think we're going to recruit a top star, but just maybe some fringe 7 or a guy who's had a bit of experience. That's all I'm looking for. And I'm also keen for us to sign a couple of guys around 100 games experience, mid-20s. I feel like right now we've got a lot of guys getting close to 30 or over 30 or in their late teens, around the 20 mark, but very few guys right in the middle. So that's something I'd be looking to do, particularly in the middles. I want another backup prop And I wouldn't mind a prop who can play 13 that could potentially be a long-term successor to both Dylan Walker and Tohu Harris. With questions, I know that the internet rumor has been dispelled that Walker said he's staying till the end of his contract, but he can negotiate from this year. And I don't really expect him to extend on with his whānau back in Australia. So heading into 2026, we could be without Tohu and Dylan Walker. So we need to build that successor now. All right, that's me for tonight, guys. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. I'm sorry I'm not too full of energy, but it's a little bit tough to get up for this, knowing that the boys are pretty much cooked for this year, particularly off a pretty long work day today. Still all in though. Look forward to the game on the weekend. Hopefully we can pull it off, but I'd be pretty surprised if we do. Up the New Zealand Warriors. Let's get it.